talk about meeting some world leaders and one specific one. Quote, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un, I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. I've been a children's pastor after all. Did you meet Kim Jong Un?
Okay, so that's a tough question for Kristi Noem, since in her book, she did say that she met him. Now, little spoiler alert, she didn't meet him. It was a lie. So one would think, embarrassing, but you could probably clear that up pretty quickly. She goes in a different direction.
Well, as soon as this was brought to my attention, I certainly made some changes and looked at this passage. And I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. As soon as it was brought to my attention, we went forward and have made some edits.
So you did not meet with Kim Jong Un. That's what you're saying.
No, I met with many, many world leaders. Many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. I think I've talked extensively in this book about my time serving in Congress, my time as governor, before governor, some of the travels that I've had. I'm not going to talk about my specific meetings with world leaders. I'm just not going to do that. This anecdote shouldn't have been in the book, and as soon as it was brought to my attention, I made sure that that was adjusted. So
I love that. Because that right there is everything that people hate about politicians. They are massive, massive liars, massive liars. They talk about telling it like it is. They're well trained to not tell it like it is. She was like, it shouldn't have been in the book. And she's right, because it's a lie and you're not supposed to put lies in your books. But she does this abstract thing where she's like, the book's over there. It shouldn't have been in there for reasons I won't define. I'm not gonna talk about which leaders I met, except in my book where I talked about the leaders I hadn't met, but pretended that I did. She never admits there that she didn't meet him. She didn't, it was a lie. And so I have a follow-up question. Did you write this book? Because if you didn't write this book, if somebody just made up stuff for you, which is definitely the case, they all get ghostwriters to write their books, then she actually has potentially a good excuse. I didn't actually write it, it was someone I talked to them, I did some interviews, and then they embellished or whatever. But she doesn't want to admit that. And so a lie means you have to lie to cover up the lie. And so it's all just that abstract, it shouldn't have been there, it was edited out. You lied about it. There have been like how many instances, Francesca, in this episode where they just won't be clear about literally anything. And in all cases, it's things that they started. They make a bold claim, they say something provocative. And when you try to get them to just admit what it is they're saying, that all of a sudden can't be pinned down. I don't want to say anything. They're utter cowards. That's why people hate politicians like this.
Well, I met with a lot of world leaders. Well, look, I've told a lot of lies in my lifetime. So this lie is actually in comparison. It's not a lie, but anyway, I've told a lot of truths in my life, and those truths are my life. And I killed a dog. You guys want to talk about the dog again? Let's talk about that dog. I also killed a goat. Nobody seems to want to talk about the goat.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the Damage Report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
Look, I've watched this clip and I watched another clip of her in this exact same caught in a lie about Kim Jong Un and trying to squirm out of it. And I've come to the conclusion, John, that she didn't read her own book before it went to press. Like, that's the only conclusion. She clearly is a little disturbed that this was in there. And it's like, yeah, we're working things out with the publisher, but I've met a lot of good. You didn't read it. Like, and if you had read it, then why are you doing the circuit? Like, why are you going on the news to basically hawk your book and sell yourself as this leader and whatnot? And like, because you know you're gonna be asked about it. It's pretty big to meet with the leader of North Korea. It's not a small deal. So you know what? It's more of a bathroom reading book. So you're supposed to pick it up, read a little chapter, and then you just put it down for a few months, pick it up again and read something random. Anyway, please buy it at a Hudson News near you.
That's exactly what it is. Look, it was Margaret Brennan, right? Yeah, she did a good job of doing the follow-up questions. But again, like I wish that I would be in this sort of position. It wouldn't work because they'd never come back on the show. But like, don't just say, did you meet him? Say, did you use a ghostwriter for this book? Did you write this book? Did you type the words in this graphic into a Word doc, did you say, I met him, little tyrants, youth pastor? Did you type those words? And if so, why did you type those words? They weren't true. You keep saying it shouldn't have been there. Why specifically shouldn't it have been there? Are there other things that are not true that you're only going to remove if we fact check it? She does this whole thing later in the interview. She calls it a powerful book. First of all, don't call your own book a powerful book when it's an autobiography. What the hell is wrong with you? Or if you can do that, okay, my book, Shadow of the Mouse Thief, very powerful. I think, it's a powerful book. It's an honest book. I think everyone should read Shadow of the Mouse Thief. Anyway, she goes on to say, everyone should read it because it's an honest book. And Margaret Brennan says, but if you have to retract it or parts of it, and she says, and that's what bothers me about politicians is when they're fake. I'm not retracting anything. I'm not retracting anything. No, this book, first of all, you were fake. That's what we're talking about right now, is that you lied about a meeting that didn't happen. And you did retract it. You literally had to take it out of the book. That's what a retraction is. Now, you're not admitting why, but that's what you did. And then, once she's not with Brennan anymore, she goes to Twitter to complain about fake news, basically saying she was interrupted too much. It's fake news media. There are two sets of rules and conservatives are always treated differently. You lied. I want to punctuate that sentence with something else, but I will just say you lied. You were caught, okay? There are two different things. Whereas if you were on Oprah's book club and it turned out that your autobiography is full of lies, you get pilloried, nationwide. But you lied in your book, and you're not even admitting that that's what you did, even though you admitted it by taking it out of the book. And you're mad about the fact that you were being treated unfairly? She should have cut the interview off after you refused to admit that you were advocating for Commander Biden to be shot. If not, when you refused to admit that you'd lied about meeting Kim Jong Un. The fact that she kept you on there is because there are different sets of rules, and people who are in power get treated with kid gloves, even by media that's being tougher than normal in that case. And what do you think?
I mean, honestly, I even think, I'm trying to rack my brain, I think Fox, I think Newsmax, I think anyone would have asked her these questions about, they might have framed it with a smile about Commander, and then they would have both laughed about being killed, or the Kim Jong Un stuff. Just don't do a press tour. Do you know what I'm saying? This is backfiring in her face, and certainly don't do it with anyone that's going to, again, we all know that mainstream news doesn't push back, but they're gonna give you just a little bit more pushback than other places would. So it's on her, it truly is on her, but to whine about it is so funny. Girl, just, again with maybe a great running mate, John, because drawing more attention to yourself by pointing out your own mistakes, Trump is a master at that.
That is true, that is true. Just a reminder to everyone, these are not exceptional people. These are not special people. These are people who are good at raising money. They refuse to be shamed, I suppose. That's a talent, I suppose. That's it. They're not especially smart people. They're not especially curious people. They're not knowledgeable. They're not trained. They just happen to have gotten elected for a variety of reasons, most of them bad, okay? The more you dig into them, the worse it seems. And that's why they do things like this. That's why they assassinate dogs. That's why they lie about their autobiography. She's basically George Santos at this point, except he at least had the sense to make money off of Cameo. He's probably gonna make more on Cameo than she does from this book. They're not special people. Don't look up to them. Don't look, literally, you should start from the point of view of massive automatic disrespect for any elected official. And if they prove that they're smart or whatever, then you could get them back up to the sort of neutral position you'd have towards anyone you meet. But they should start at a massive deficit. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.